We have made a decision. We'll be announcing it very soon, and it'll be 25%, generally speaking, and that'll be on cars and all of the things. And European Union is a different case than Canada, different kind of case. They've really taken advantage of us in a different way. They don't accept our cars. They don't accept essentially our farm products. They use all sorts of reasons why not. And we accept everything of them, and we have about a $300 billion deficit with the European Union. Now, I love the countries of Europe. I guess I'm from there at some point a long time ago, right? But indirectly, pretty directly too, I guess. But I love the countries of Europe. I love all countries, frankly, all different. But European Union's it was formed in order to screw the United States. I mean, look, let's be honest. The European Union was formed in order to screw the United States. That's the purpose of it. And they've done a good job of it, but now I'm president.
What will happen if these countries or the EU retaliate?
They can't. I mean, they can try, but they can't.
China did. They imposed tariffs that went into effect. China's retaliatory
That's right.
tariffs
That's
on
right. But
the 10th of February. Has there been
that's
any
right.
impact you've been able to observe?
That's right. Now, they can do it, and they can try, but the numbers can never equal what ours, because we can go off. We are the pot of gold. We're the one that everybody wants. And they can retaliate, but it cannot be a successful retaliation because we just go cold turkey. We don't buy anymore. And if that happens, we win.
In the early weeks of 2025, a dramatic shift in international trade policy sent shockwaves across the global economy. As the new term of President Donald Trump unfolded, his administration announced a bold move, imposing 25% tariffs on imports from the European Union. Historically, tariffs have been tools of economic leverage, a legacy that dates to protectionist policies and trade wars of the past. In recent years, however, these measures had taken a back seat in a largely globalized and rules-based trading system. Yet, as the United States faces a growing trade deficit and renewed nationalist rhetoric, President Trump has reintroduced tariffs as a means to rebalance what he views as an inequitable economic relationship. Fast forward to February 2025. In his first cabinet meeting of his second term, President Trump shocked markets and policymakers by declaring that the United States would soon impose a 25% tariff on European Union goods. At the press briefing, he stated, "We have made a decision and will be announcing it very soon. It'll be 25%, generally speaking, and that will be on cars and all other things." In the same breath, he controversially added that the European Union was formed to screw the United States. These stark words not only reawakened memories of earlier tariff battles, but also set the stage for a potential transatlantic trade conflict. On February 26, 2025, during that pivotal cabinet meeting, Trump's announcement came alongside simultaneous tariff measures aimed at America's neighbors, Canada and Mexico. However, while tariffs on North American imports were put on a temporary pause, pending negotiations over border security and drug trafficking issues, the promise of imposing similar tariffs on the European Union was presented as inevitable. According to multiple sources, the United States imports approximately $605 billion in goods from the European Union, while exporting around $370 billion back. This imbalance has resulted in a trade deficit of roughly $235 billion. For President Trump, this deficit represents more than just a number. It is a symbol of what he deems an unfair trading relationship. His administration's plan is to use tariffs as a corrective measure to pressure the EU into increasing its imports of American products, such as cars, farm goods, and energy resources. Detailed economic data underscores the magnitude of this trade gap, while the overall deficit accounts for only about 3% of the transatlantic trade, which totals over $1.5 trillion. The Trump administration argues that the imbalance, estimated at over $235 billion, is symptomatic of a broader exploitation. Critics, however, note that the services sector tells a different story. The United States runs a significant surplus in services trade with the EU, which many economists contend should be taken into account when evaluating overall trade health. The focus on goods is particularly sharp in industries such as automotive manufacturing. The EU, known for its robust car exports, faces a direct challenge. Currently, the European Union imposes a 10% tariff on imported cars, while the United States has, in certain categories, applied tariffs as high as 25% on pickup trucks and other vehicles. This discrepancy not only fuels the trade imbalance, but also has profound implications for industries on both sides of the Atlantic. Economic analysts warned that such tariffs could lead to a cascade of retaliatory measures. European officials have already signaled their intent to respond firmly and immediately against what they describe as unjustified barriers to free and fair trade. The European Commission, led by President Ursula von der Leyen, has vowed to safeguard the interests of its member states. Trade Commissioner Maros Sefcovic has emphasized the need for early engagement with American counterparts to avert a full-blown trade war, a warning echoed by many within the bloc. Inside the European Union, opinions diverge. While leaders from major economies like Germany and Italy, whose exports account for a large portion of the EU's trade surplus with the United States, advocate for a robust countermeasure, smaller member states worry that unilateral retaliatory tariffs could further disrupt an already fragmented internal market. This internal division poses a significant challenge to formulating a united and effective response. Market reactions to Trump's tariff announcement have been swift. The euro experienced a modest decline, falling by about 0.2% against the dollar, as investors grappled with the potential for increased trade tensions. U.S. Treasury yields also responded, with the policy's uncertainty prompting shifts in short-term government debt rates. Stock markets on both sides of the Atlantic have shown volatility, reflecting fears that escalating tariffs could stifle economic growth and dampen investor confidence. Beyond immediate market fluctuations, the broader economic implications loom large. For American consumers, the imposition of high tariffs could translate into higher prices on imported goods, ranging from luxury cars to specialty food items. In Europe, industries dependent on exports to the United States face the dual threat of lost market share and increased production costs. The potential for a tit-for-tat escalation could lead to what many economists warn might evolve into a full-scale trade war, with widespread repercussions for global supply chains and economic stability. While the rhetoric is fierce, some experts suggest that Trump's tariff strategy is as much about signaling as it is about economic adjustment. By adopting a hardline stance, his administration aims to pressurize its trading partners into negotiating terms more favorable to American interests. Yet, critics argue that the focus on bilateral deficits oversimplifies the intricate nature of modern trade. They point out that trade flows encompass not only goods but also services, investments, and intellectual property, areas in which the United States holds significant advantages. Recent data from the U.S. Census Bureau shows that while the goods trade deficit with the EU is significant, the overall picture is more nuanced when services are taken into account. Furthermore, some analysts argue that the U.S. trade deficit is influenced by macroeconomic factors such as consumer spending patterns and savings rates, rather than solely by the tariff policies of its trading partners. Looking ahead, the path forward remains uncertain. Negotiations between the Trump administration and European officials are expected to intensify in the coming months. Both sides appear to be preparing for a prolonged dispute, with trade ministers and economic advisors convening to discuss possible countermeasures. The stakes are high, not only for the U.S. and the EU, but for the global trading system as a whole.